Hey there and welcome to Storytime. So this time I'm going to tell you the story about how I became editor-in-chief and my time as editor-in-chief for the school magazine or the student newspaper. I don't know which is the better term, I'll just go with student newspaper. So at first I was around 18, no, I was 17, 18, around that corner, so when this happened. And we had a student newspaper or whatever you call it, but it didn't come out regularly. It came around once a year maybe. Sometimes it didn't come out at all. I think I only saw one or two editions in the whole time I was at that school. So I don't know, it wasn't very popular, and the thing was, it was so freaking expensive. It costed around €5, and that's just a huge amount of money for something. That was back in 2003 or 2004. So back then the euro was new and he was really valuable. So €5, that was a huge amount of money. I know today it isn't that much anymore, but back then it was a huge amount of money, and this thing only had around 20 pages or 30 pages if it was a special edition. So it was small, and all the articles were crappy because they were outdated most of the time. Because of the fact, if you only bring out one issue per year, it's just outdated. If there's an issue in, I don't know, November, for example, you will have articles from April in there, and that's just, no one is interested in that anymore. So it was just a crappy little newspaper. And one of my friends and me, we decided, okay, we will get this thing around. We will reboot it, basically. We will get there. So we had to, basically get rid of the old editor-in-chief because it was a girl or a woman, a girl, it was a girl, and she was just horrible. You didn't have any kind of motivation for that, and I don't know, she just made so many compromises, I have no idea how to call it, but yeah, she was not very good. So we decided to get rid of her. We kind of, I don't know, it felt like a coup d'etat? Yeah, coup d'etat, that's a good term for that. So yeah, we went there and we got rid of her really fast. It was actually really fast. And yeah, we looked up what we had. And the thing was, we had a very, very, very old computer. It was such a freaking old computer. I think it was the oldest computer in the whole school. It was so freaking old, and there was Windows, I think 95 on it. And we only had Microsoft Word for the school newspaper. And if you've ever done anything in print, if you've ever, printed a book or whatever, if you've ever printed something that had more than 2 pages, basically, you can't use Microsoft Word. It's a great program for letters or something like that, but it's horrible if you want to do a real print publication, like a book, for example, or like a student newspaper. It's just horrible for that, and you shouldn't use it because with the computer being so old, it only took, I don't know, 3 minutes to insert a picture, for example. That was just horrible, and you can't align them right, and yeah, whatever. So it wasn't good, and we didn't have our own room. We didn't have a, I don't know, editor space or something like that. We were in the library, so we had to wait until the library opened before we could actually work on the school's newspaper, and that was just a horrible situation. You can't work like that. We could work for maybe 2 hours a day on that, and that's just not enough if you want to make something good. So yeah, we went to the principal and we asked him, okay, we need an own room, we need a key for that room, and we need just new hardware, basically. So yeah, we got a room, but we had to work with the old hardware because the school didn't have any kind of money to give us new hardware. So yeah, we looked up why was this newspaper so expensive, and why didn't it come out more often? And we found the problem. The problem was that the school newspaper was printed at a local printer, local print shop, whatever, and they were so freaking expensive. For I think 300 copies, they wanted €1,500. That was just so freaking expensive. Don't get me wrong, the quality was okay. It wasn't the best paper or the best ink in the world, but the quality was okay. It was good, but it was just so freaking expensive. So I was asking another editor-in-chief I knew back in the day. It was actually my girlfriend. Yeah, if I remember now, it was my girlfriend back in the day, and she wasn't from around the place I lived, so I asked her, where do you print your stuff? And she told me they're printing it in another German city, but I don't recall the name. So yeah, I called them, I gave them a call, and I just asked them how much for 400, copies of this and that. And they told me it was around, I think, 500 euros, so 1,000 euro less. So yeah, we just decided, okay, we take the risk, and they actually made us a discount. I think for 600 copies, we only had to pay 600 euros, so 1 euro per copy. That was actually great. So we went out, we got some, guys to make ads in our school newspaper. I have no idea how you call them, but basically the same as Google does. So we would put, I don't know, let's go to this and that China restaurant and eat their stuff because it's delicious and stuff like that. We would put that into the newspaper and they would give us money for that. So yeah, and we decided to go up with 600 copies. This was a huge risk, and of course we decided to add much more content into the actual school's newspaper because we wanted to have more than 20 pages. That was just horrible. So our first edition had 40 copies. That was a lot. That was a lot. Not 40 copies, I'm sorry, 40 pages. That was a lot, and it was just awesome. So we sent it there. We went just crazy with that. We just took the huge risk, and we actually got it right in time. And it was amazing. We sold it for 1 euro because we paid 1 euro to print every copy. So we thought, okay, we will just sell it for 1 euro. And we got rid of every one of the 600 copies. It was amazing. So we made exactly the amount of money we needed for this thing to be paid. And because of the fact that we had the ads in there, we actually had more money than, we needed. So in the end, we actually made over 1,000 euro plus with this edition, with the first edition we ever gave out. And this was just a huge amount of money. So we paid, I think, 300 euro for new computers or something like that. Something around that, or maybe 500, I have no idea. But we bought 2 computers, 2 19-inch or whatever it's called monitors, and we put them in the room, and we paid for new software, and it was so amazing to work with that new software. I just loved it. But I think it's 7 minutes now, so I will probably do a second episode on this. So this is just the first part, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I'll do the second part of this. If you want to have a second part, just let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed this, please rate it. And that was it for this week's episode of Storytime. I'm iLostLink, signing out.